Welcome back. It is still iBrand Daybreak. These are worrying times for Nigeria as the country's borrowing from the World Bank has risen by 121.46%. The total debt owed to the World Bank Group by Nigeria has risen by $7.64 billion in 7 years. Interestingly, the country's indebtedness to the Washington, D.C., United States-based lender rose from $6.29 billion as of December 2015 to $13.93 billion as of December 2022. According to data from the External Debt Stock Reports, in case you missed it, the International Development Association and the International Bank for Reconstruction and Development, which make up the World Bank, have over the years advanced loans to Nigeria. The IBRD lends to governments of middle-income and credit-worthy low-income countries, while the IDA provides concessionary loans, called credits, and grants to governments of the poorest countries. A further breakdown over the years showed that Nigeria's total borrowing from World Bank was $6.67 billion in 2016, $8.03 billion in 2017, $8.67 billion in 2018, $10.1 billion in 2019, $11.53 billion and $12.38 billion in 2021. The big question is, what can be done by the incoming administration to salvage this situation? Joining us to have this conversation is Dr. Dayo Kayode. Good morning and welcome, sir.
Good morning. How are you today?
I am good.
Yeah, and should I say happy Salabi? That last holiday. I hope you enjoyed it.
Yes.
Yes.
I wish I can say we enjoyed it, but it's fine. Life goes on.
Yeah, life goes on. That's the most important thing.
All right, so let's get down to it. Between 2016 and 2021, we've accumulated billions and billions of dollars in debt to the World Bank. Can you tell us how worried, how boggled is your mind? When you think about these debt to the World Bank, to China, we're owing a lot of people, and it's not small money, and it keeps rising. How do you react to that?
Yeah, this thing wouldn't have boggled my mind if not because the way we have been using the money we are borrowing. Honestly speaking, there is no crime in being indebted to one bank or the other, because no business can grow without borrowing. But to what economic activities are you putting this money? This money you are borrowing, can it regenerate itself? This money you are borrowing, can it pay itself inclusive of the interest on it? I'll give you an instance. In the Bible, there was one master that while traveling, he gave some of his boys some seedlings. To one, he gave one seedling, according to the Bible. To another, he gave 2 seedlings. And to another, he gave 3 seedlings. It's a form of borrowing to empower. All right? The first one looked at itself. Why should this man even do this? He ate the money. The second one regenerated it. And the third one also regenerated those seedlings in folds. It's a pity that sometimes when we read certain things, we look at them at the face value. We don't look at the spiritual implication. I mean, that's the spiritual implication that I'm trying to bring into Nigerian situation today. Okay? Now, let let us now put this thing to assess even the recent 800 million palliative that is being to, I mean, that it's about to be borrowed. To what extent has all these palliative measures been embarked upon by successive governments in this our nation affected positively the lives of Nigerians, rather further impoverishing? Now, if you are borrowing $800 million to give to 50 million Nigerians as palliatives, are you telling them how to use that money? That money, are you giving it to them for economic purposes? Look at the trader money the other time that were being distributed, I mean, some weeks to the election. I think in 2019 or thereabout. Of what importance? Of what economic importance has it been to our nation and its people? What am I saying? What I'm saying in essence is this. All these humongous borrowing wouldn't have been a thing of a concern if only we have been using it judiciously to regenerate itself. But unfortunately, our national grid, that is GREED, has never allowed our national grid, GRID, to work.
Now, Doctor, let's look at it in a very practical sense. The purpose for this borrowing is what we want to look at vis-a-vis what the loans were used for, because the analogy you gave about the parable which the slave received some certain talents from their master in form of loans, and we saw how most of them used it. So let's look at it in a more practical sense in modern day. As of 2020, 13 states got IDF credit to the tune of $280 million. Now, that fund were to be used to upgrade rural road. And when we talk about rural road, we're looking at roads that lead to agricultural facilities. Now, we're also looking at connecting these farmers to global markets so that their produce will be fit enough for export. 13 states in Nigeria were supposed to get that fund.
Let's quickly tackle
now,
that. So that we don't miss.
I'm breaking it down.
I don't want us to lose focus. Okay. Let us be taking it one by one.
Okay.
So that viewers will be able to understand where we are coming from and where we are going.
All right. So that particular fund, $280 million, what was it used for?
Yeah. Number one, I wouldn't know what it was used for because, I mean, I've not been in those states. But when we look at what has been happening in this nation, one of the problems that the farmers have been having is these roads. I have a brother that has a farm. All right? Big cassava farm. The problem we have been complaining about is how to bring down the produce
access road
from the farm to the cities, especially during rainy season. To the extent that he now has to go and buy Okada.
What state is that?
Don't let me mention the state. So that
no, because we're talking about.
It's in Ekiti State.
Good.
It's in Ekiti State. Right. To the extent that he's even planning to go and buy Okada. How many cassava will Okada carry? That is one. Two. I don't know whether I see the Minister of Agric now. How do Ogbe? You should remember.
Yes, I know.
A few years back, he tried to export our yam. What happened to that yam? Because you are now saying they will borrow that money so that they can connect our farmers to international market. To what extent have they been connecting our farmers to the international market? Most of the international trade fairs that have been organized outside the country, how many of our farmers have been going there? You always have the ministers, the what do I call it now? Ministry officials, and then is a retinue of aides going. How many farmers have been going?
Let me put you on a pause mode, Doctor. Are you aware that some of our agricultural produce are not marketable enough?
They are not because none of them are being processed. We don't process them. I was baffled that a whole experienced personality like Audu Ogbe can now export our yam straight away like that without processing it into more how do I put it now, marketable product. Let me bust a bubble. Look at Togo down there. You know, they are very good in cocoa plantation and all that.
Production, yeah.
A particular chocolate company has been buying their cocoa, but at a point they say, okay, they are no more selling their cocoa to anybody. You should know you need our cocoa. Come and establish your industry in our country. Go there and see what is happening there. What is wrong with us as a people? What is wrong with us as a people? I was telling somebody a story of what I saw in Abuja some times ago. A whole cashew plantation, and somebody can decide to pull all those things out for housing facility, and those houses were not even built.
Were certain permits or approval given before those plantations were
were
pulled down?
whatever it is, how can you pull down cashew plantation? You know cashew is a cash crop. Are you aware?
Yes, I know.
So how can you whatever it is, how can you pull that one down? Don't you have some other area that you can go and put your...
Could it be they are looking for a short-term benefit when it comes to, you know, putting housing there and making money quickly?
What kind of short-term benefit? Cashew that have been produced, that have been seedling, that have been giving fruits over the years? Over the years? Is it because they are looking for short-term DC that made them to abandon the cashew processing plant in Ibadan? Around Eleyele? Go there and see what is happening there. Is it because they are looking for short term that is making them to convert most of our industries to churches? Go to Akilo and see what is happening. Go to CIL and see what is happening there. Cocoa Industry Limited, producers of Milo. I mean, what's the name of this? Vitalo. In those days, I don't know whether you know Vitalo. In those days, Vitalo is as competitive as Milo.
Let's not mention brands.
No. This is because so that viewers will know where we are coming from.
Now looking at
go to that place and see what is happening. Doctor, it is appalling. Go to Dunlop in on Obakran, and then vis-a-vis what we used to have in old Benin State, the rubber plantation. When you are moving from Benin to Saple to Warri, go and see what is happening.
Now, okay, Doctor, are we saying that these funds were mismanaged and someone cannot be called to account?
Who is going to call who to account?
I mean, you mentioned a former minister of agriculture.
I want to tell you this. Who is going to call who to account? Olegba. Birds of the same feather that flock together. Look at what happened in Adamawa. I was saying on this platform, and I was saying the president should make sure that guy is brought to book. What has happened today? He has fled. From where? Who allowed him to fly off? A whole personality like that? Wreck? So you can see the whole rot in which we are. You see, we can only understand the economic problem we are having in this country if we can go back to what Mahatma Gandhi said. He said, our resources are good enough for our needs and not for our greeds. All we have in this country, we have no reason to be borrowing the way we are borrowing. If only everybody is satisfied with his needs and not the greed. Sir, look at how small Austria is. Austria, very small country. But go and look at their per capita income. Vis-a-vis, what resources do they have? and now come and compare it to that of Nigeria as regards the resources we have. We are talking now, yes, we have been colonized before. Was India too not colonized? What's the population of India today? Is it not higher than that of Nigeria? What resources has India today? Which one do we have here? But look at the kind of development that is happening in India and that of Nigeria. Look at how much Brazil was owing before. Brazil. But what did they use all those money for? But what have we been using our own for? I was following American politics yesterday. And I was listening to McCarthy, the new speaker of the House. Kudos to him. Try to put a ceiling to how much can be borrowed. Even at that, when you look at how much money America is owing, you'll be able to see what they are putting it in. I mean, how they are putting it into economic use. But where are we today? What is wrong with us as a people? So it's so unfortunate. So the people get the kind of government they desire because they always vote based on the Bukomiko Sebe.
All right, so
stomach infrastructure.
There's been a lot of conversations around how indebted Nigeria has become, and even the World Bank has advised Nigeria to invest more into microeconomics, FX, and a lot of these things. Because even speculations or word on the streets is that even the incoming government is going to borrow even more if nothing is done about. Do you see the incoming government, taking a cue from what the World Bank just said, investing these monies or what we already have into microeconomics and growing the industries in Nigeria?
Well, my own big concern about the incoming government is that it has informed Nigerians that it's going to continue from where this outgoing government stopped. And if it's like that, then I'm saying if it's going to be like that, I might want to say that Nigerians are in for new big concerns. I don't want to use the word trouble. Big concern. Because that means we'll still be talking about subsidy without looking at how to resuscitate our refineries and then bringing in maybe modular refineries. That means we are still going to be borrowing to feed ourselves. And when you borrow to feed without investing in economic activities, then you are in for it. That means the innovations that we have been expecting in agric, just like we discussed the other time, it's still going to be a thing that we will just be, a wishful thinking for us, and so many other things. Not until when we have a government that is going to have a total departure, philosophical departure from what we are having now, then it's still going to be the same old story. Nothing positive to look forward to, except there's a departure from what we're experiencing now.
Now, I'm not a fan of borrowing, but if you must borrow, there must be a reason for you to borrow, and that money should be put in good use.
Exactly.
Now, my question is, the monies we have borrowed in the past, it has been in the hands of those who have piloted that particular ministry.
Yeah.
For instance, agriculture. Can we not start calling to book certain individuals who has mismanaged, or for one reason or the other, the money is borrowed weren't used or put to use? Should we not start looking at it that point?
Are you aware of somebody that was being accosted in this country, and the person said, if you don't leave me alone, I will spill the beans?
So does it mean others too are involved in the loot or the sharing?
Perhaps you want to take it from what I just said. Perhaps you want to say that from what I have just said. Do you understand?
So it means the situation everybody keeping quiet because we all share the money? Is that what you're saying?
Where?
No, is that what you're saying?
Listen to this. Listen to this. Why is it that till today, most of the people that had been arrested one way or the other for corruption cases had not been properly dealt with? I will give you an instance. NDDIC, I think last year or 2 years or late 2 years ago, stop the mic. We're all aware of it. Abi, what has happened? What has happened? Akpabio, who was being taken to court on corruption cases, alleged corruption cases. What happened to him? He was later relieved of that particular case and then being made a minister. I think he's among those people jostling how to come and become our Senate president. Then what do you expect? What do you expect? Birds of the same feather that flocks together.
We're running out of time, Doctor. I would have wanted to ask you. You know, we're trying to stay positive.
Yeah.
That's the only way to keep the engine running.
Yeah.
So if you were to suggest ways to move this country forward, especially when it comes to the amount of debt that we have accrued to ourselves, what would be your word?
For this country to move forward, it depends on the people. I will always say, it depends on the people. It is only when the people comes to their realization that they have been fooled based on this the submission of their sovereignty to some people, and they are using such to oppress them, and they now want to get themselves off the claw. They now want to get themselves off the claw by all means. Then you will see government being responsible to the people. But the moment people are not ready to do that, believing in stomach infrastructure and the Bokomiko Sebe, what we are saying is what we always
Thank you so much, Doctor, for coming on the show today.
It's my pleasure. It's my pleasure being with you.
I wish we can continue having this conversation, but we work with time and we have other information backed up for you. It is still iBrand Daybreak. When we return, we will be going into the markets because everything actually is intertwined. They affect each other. The price of rice is becoming another cause for conversations, and that is what we're going to be talking about when we return from this break. Stay with us.